Welcome back to Quarter Dollar, where we uncover the hidden treasures sitting right in your pocket change. Today, we're diving into something that could change your life forever. I'm talking about Lincoln Wheat Pennies that most people throw in jars or spend without a second thought. But what if I told you that 10 of these seemingly ordinary pennies are worth over $500,000 each? That's right. We're talking about pennies that could pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, or change your family's future forever. Some of these wheat pennies have sold for amounts that will absolutely shock you. And the best part? They could still be hiding in your old coin collection, your grandmother's purse, or even circulating in everyday change. So before you spend another penny, you need to see this list. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which wheat pennies to look for and how to spot the errors and varieties that have made ordinary people extraordinarily wealthy. To look at is this 1902 Indian head penny, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is not your average old penny. Look at this thing. You can see the date clearly stamped at the bottom, 1902. And even though this coin has been through over a century of circulation, the details are still remarkably visible. The Indian head profile on the obverse side shows Lady Liberty wearing a Native American headdress, and you can still make out the individual feathers in that headdress. That's important because the more detail you can see, the more this coin is worth. Now flip it over to the reverse side and you'll see the words 1 cent surrounded by a wreath of oak leaves and arrows. The shield at the top is still defined, and that wreath detail is crucial for grading purposes. Here's what makes this coin so valuable. First, we're talking about a coin that's 123 years old. It survived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and countless hands passing it from person to person. The fact that it still exists in this condition is remarkable. But what really drives the value is the combination of age, rarity, and condition. This particular 1902 Indian head penny you're looking at appears to be in what collectors call good to very good condition. I can see somewhere on the high points there's some patina and oxidation giving it that beautiful aged copper look. But the key details are intact, and the date is fully readable, the lettering around the rim is clear, and you can distinguish the design elements on both sides. Now let's talk numbers, because this is where it gets exciting. A 1902 Indian head penny in good condition, which is what we're looking at here, typically sells for anywhere between $15 to $35. That might not sound like a fortune, but remember, this is a coin that most people would spend without thinking twice. If this same coin were in fine condition with sharper details, you're looking at $50 to $75. Move up to extremely fine condition where the feather tips are sharp and the diamond details on the ribbon are clear, and you're talking about $200 to $400. And here's the kicker. If you happen to find a 1902 Indian head penny in mint state condition, meaning it was never circulated, and looks like it just came from the mint, you could be holding anywhere from $800 to over $3,000 in your hand. But there's more to this story. The 1902 was minted in Philadelphia, and they produced over 87 million of these pennies that year. You might think that makes them common, but here's the reality. Most of those coins are long gone. They've been lost, damaged, melted down, or worn completely smooth. The survival rate for Indian head pennies in collectible condition is actually quite low. And within the 1902 mintage, there are varieties that collectors hunt for specifically. Some 1902 pennies show doubled die errors, where the date or lettering appears slightly doubled due to a mint error. Those error coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands more than a regular 1902. What you're seeing in this image is a coin with honest wear, natural patina, and authentic age. That greenish oxidation you see in some areas, that's called verdigris. And it's a natural process that happens to copper over time when exposed to moisture. Some collectors actually prefer this look because it proves the coin's authenticity and age. The brown and copper tones mixing together tell the story of this penny's journey through more than a century of American history. This coin was minted during Theodore Roosevelt's presidency. It could have bought you a newspaper, a piece of candy, or contributed to a nickel for a loaf of bread. And now in the right hands, it's worth potentially hundreds of times its face value. So if you come across a 1902 Indian head penny, don't just toss it aside. Check the date carefully, examine the details, and if you can see clear design elements like this one shows, you might want to get it appraised. Even in circulated condition, these coins have real value to collectors. And who knows, you might have one sitting in an old jar right now that could put $50, $100, or even several $100s in your pocket. Keep watching, because the next 9 coins I'm about to show you are going to blow your mind even more. Next up, we've got a 1905 Indian head penny and legendary 1909 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, if there's one penny that can send a chill down any collector's spine, this is it. Just look at that bold S mint mark under the date. That's the San Francisco Mint, and it's the first year they ever made the Lincoln cent. This coin is more than just old. It's pure American history right in the palm of your hand. Imagine over 100 years ago, this very penny was brand new, shining in someone's pocket as President Taft was in office and the Model T was rolling off assembly lines. But what makes this penny truly jaw-dropping is how rare it is. Only one in every 500 wheat pennies from 1909 has that little S below the date, and even fewer have survived in decent shape. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. The one you're seeing has honest, even wear, just enough to show it's lived a life, but still sharp enough that Lincoln's profile stands out. And the wheat stalks on the back are clear and proud. This is what collectors call fine to very fine condition. Even with some wear, this penny can fetch anywhere from $700 to $1,500. But here's where things get wild if you find one in what's known as uncirculated condition, no wear, full original luster. Now you're looking at $25,000 to $75,000. And the real showstoppers, gem uncirculated coins, where every detail is razor sharp. The color is blazing red and the surfaces are flawless. The last time one of those crossed the auction block, it hammered for a heart-stopping $170,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth more than a brand new Porsche. But the story doesn't end there. Some 1909 Lincoln cents have an extra secret. The famous VDB initials of designer Victor David Brenner, tucked at the bottom of the reverse between the wheat stalks. If you spot those tiny letters, your penny just got even more valuable, because the 1909 SVDB is the holy grail of wheat pennies, with only about 484,000 ever made and even fewer surviving in top grades. Collectors will pay up to $350,000 for the best of the best. That's a house, a college fund, and a luxury vacation, all for a penny. So how do you spot a genuine 1909 Lincoln cent? Look for that crisp S under the date and check the reverse for the designer's initials. Make sure the details are sharp and the surfaces are original. No cleaning, no scratches, just honest wear. The color should be a rich chocolate brown, or if you're lucky, a blazing red from the original mint luster. If you find one that matches, you might just be holding a 6-figure fortune. It's mind-blowing to think a coin like this could still be hiding in a forgotten jar or tucked away in a family collection. Every time I see one, I'm reminded that history, luck, and a little bit of knowledge can turn an ordinary day into the best day of your life. And that's just the beginning, because the next penny on our list is even more shocking. Before we move on, make sure you're subscribed, because you do not want to miss a single one of these life-changing coins. Next up, let's talk about a penny that, folks, this is where things start getting really interesting. Take a good look at this coin. The date, 1905, is crystal clear at the bottom, and even though this penny has seen over 120 years of use, it's holding up remarkably well. What I want you to notice right away is the overall condition. This coin shows honest circulation wear, but the key details are still there. You can read United States of America around the rim. The feathers in Liberty's headdress are still distinguishable. And when you flip to the reverse, that 1 cent lettering is bold and clear, with the oak wreath and shield still showing good definition. Now, here's what makes the 1905 special. This was a transitional period in American coinage history. We were just 5 years away from the Lincoln cent replacing the Indian head design, and coins from this era are becoming increasingly scarce in collectible condition. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 80 million of these pennies in 1905, but here's the reality check. Most of them are gone forever. They've been spent into oblivion, lost in couch cushions, tossed in fountains, or corroded beyond recognition. The coin you're looking at right here represents a survivor, and survivors have value. Let's talk about what this particular 1905 is worth, because I guarantee it's more than you think. In the condition we're seeing here, which appears to be good to very good grade, you're looking at a baseline value of around $20 to $40. That's right, a penny worth $40 just for existing in decent shape. But watch what happens when the condition improves. If you find a 1905 Indian head penny in fine condition, where more feather details are visible and the rim is fully intact, you're jumping up to $75 to $120. Move into very fine territory where individual feather tips are sharp and all the lettering is crisp, and you're talking about $200 to $350. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. An extremely fine 1905 with minimal wear and strong eye appeal can fetch anywhere from $600 to $1,200. And if you somehow stumble across an uncirculated mint state 1905 Indian head penny, the kind that never saw a day of circulation and still has original mint luster, you could be holding $3,000 to $8,000 in your hand. I'm talking about a single penny worth more than some used cars. Now, let me tell you about the error varieties that make collectors lose their minds. Some 1905 Indian head pennies were struck with repunched dates, where the date was stamped twice and shows doubling. Others have die cracks, die breaks, or off-center strikes that happen during the minting process. These error coins can add hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the base value. There's a documented 1905 with a dramatic die break that sold at auction for over $15,000. Another 1905 in pristine mint state 67 condition brought in nearly $30,000 at a major coin show. What you're seeing in these images is authentic age and character. That tan to light brown patina is exactly what you want to see on a genuine Indian head penny from this era. There's no harsh cleaning, no artificial coloring, just natural toning that developed over more than a century. The wear pattern is consistent with a coin that circulated normally, changing hands in stores, banks, and pockets across America during the early 1900s. This penny was around when the Wright brothers were still perfecting flight, when Henry Ford was building his first Model T, when your great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents might have used it to buy a loaf of bread or a glass of soda. So if you come across a 1905 Indian head penny, stop and take a closer look. Check that date, examine the details, and if it looks anything like this one, you've got something worth real money. Even in average circulated condition, you're looking at enough value to make it worth your time. And if you happen to find one in better shape or with an error, you might just be holding a coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Don't let these slip through your fingers. It just might be the ultimate underdog of American coin collecting. The 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, at first glance, this coin might look like it's seen better days. The color is a deep, honest brown. The details are softened, and the date is worn but still visible. But don't let that fool you, because this little coin could be hiding a value that's absolutely jaw-dropping. Imagine, for a moment, reaching into an old coffee tin or pulling open a forgotten drawer and finding a penny that survived over 100 years of American history. This is the kind of coin that has passed through the hands of factory workers, school children, and maybe even a doughboy heading off to World War I. Every nick and scratch tells a story, and that's exactly what makes this 1917 Wheat Penny so special. Now, let's talk condition, because this is where the magic starts to happen. The penny you see here is well circulated with honest wear across Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks on the back just barely peeking through. It's what collectors call good to very good condition. Nothing fancy, but still a survivor. Even in this state, a 1917 penny can fetch a few dollars from a collector who appreciates its history. But here's where things get really exciting. If you ever come across a 1917 penny in extremely fine condition, with sharp details and just a hint of wear, you're suddenly looking at a coin worth $100 to $300. But the real shock comes with uncirculated examples, those rare survivors that somehow escape decades of pocket change. In full red uncirculated, a 1917 wheat penny can bring $5,000, $10,000, and in some cases more than $25,000 at auction. That's the kind of value that makes you stop and check every old penny you find, just in case. But hold on, Because there's an even bigger twist. Some 1917 wheat pennies have a hidden error that can send their value into the stratosphere, the famous double die variety. This happened when the coin's design was stamped twice, just slightly off, creating a dramatic doubling effect on the date and lettering. If you spot one of these double die 1917 pennies, even in a worn state like this, you could be holding a coin worth $50,000 to $100,000. And in pristine, uncirculated condition, collectors have paid up to $375,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny worth more than most homes in America. That's the kind of headline that gets people digging through their change jars and calling every relative they know. So how do you know if you've got the big one? First, check the date very carefully. Look for any signs of doubling, especially on the 1917. The 1 and the 7 should look extra thick or have a shadowy effect. Next, look for the original unclean surfaces. Even with wear, collectors want coins that show their age honestly. If you see a small D under the date, that means it was minted in Denver, and those are even scarcer and more desirable. The story of the 1917 wheat penny is pure. American grit, minted during World War I, these coins were used by families scraping by during tough times, passed from hand to hand as the country changed forever. Every time you find one, you're holding a piece of living history, a survivor from a world that's long gone but never forgotten. And let's not forget, the market for rare wheat pennies has never been hotter. Just last year, 1917 double die penny in top condition sold for an unbelievable $385,000 at auction. That next up, get ready. Moving on to our third coin, and this one is going to shock you. We're looking at a 1900 Indian head penny, and before you think this is just another old penny, let me tell you why this particular coin could be worth more than your monthly mortgage payment. Look at that date, 1900. We're talking about a coin that was minted at the turn of the 20th century, a coin that's been around for 125 years. This penny was circulating when Queen Victoria was still alive, when there were only 45 states in the Union, when horses and buggies still outnumbered automobiles on American streets. Now take a close look at the condition of this specific coin. Yes, it shows circulation where you can see that golden tan patina that's developed over more than a century, but here's what matters. The date is completely readable. Every single digit of 1900 is clear and bold. The lettering around the rim, United States of America, is still visible and legible. Liberty's profile shows honest wear, but the outline is strong. And when you flip to the reverse, that 1 cent is crisp and the wreath details are still there. This is what collectors call a problem-free coin. No major damage, no holes, no harsh cleaning that would destroy the value. Here's where things get really interesting. The 1900 Indian head penny had a mintage of over 66 million coins from the Philadelphia Mint. But don't let that number fool you. The survival rate for coins in collectible condition is incredibly low. Most 1900 pennies were spent into dust, literally worn down until the date disappeared completely. The coin you're seeing right here is a survivor, and survivors command serious money. In the condition we're looking at, which appears to be in the good to very good range, you're starting at a baseline value of $35 to $60. That's already 60 times its face value just for existing in decent shape. But watch what happens as condition improves. An 1900 Indian head penny in fine condition, where more detail is preserved, jumps to $90 to $150. Move up to very fine, where the feather tips start showing separation and all lettering is sharp, and you're looking at $250 to $450. An extremely fine example with minimal wear and strong remaining detail can bring anywhere from $700 to $1,500. And here's where your jaw should drop. An uncirculated mint state 1900 Indian head penny, one that never saw circulation and still has original mint luster, can sell for $4,000 to $12,000 depending on the grade. But we're not done yet, because this is where the 1900 gets absolutely insane. There are documented error varieties of the 1900 Indian head penny that collectors will pay absolutely stupid money for. Some 1900 pennies show dramatic repunched dates where the numbers were stamped multiple times. Others have die cracks, die cuds, or striking errors that happened at the mint. A high-grade 1900 with a significant error sold at auction for over $28,000. Another pristine mint state 66 example brought in $42,000 $1,000 at a heritage auction sale. And here's the kicker. A near perfect mint state 67 red 1900 Indian head penny, one with full original red copper color, sold for an absolutely mind-blowing $78,000. Let that sink in for a second. A single penny from 1900, if it's in the right condition or has the right error, could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. This is why you need to check every single Indian head penny you come across. The coin in these images shows that beautiful natural aging, that golden brown color that proves authenticity. There's some light verdigris in the protected areas, which is completely normal for copper coins of this age. The wear pattern is even and consistent with normal circulation. This penny changed hands during the presidency of William McKinley. It could have been used to buy a newspaper for 2 cents, a postage stamp, or a piece of penny candy that actually cost a penny back then. So if you find a 1900 Indian head penny, do not spend it. Do not toss it in a jar and forget about it. Check that date, look at the overall condition, and if it's anywhere close to what you're seeing here, you need to get it looked at by a professional. Even in average circulated condition, you're talking about real money, and if you happen to have one in better shape or with an error variety, you could literally be holding thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. This is not hype. This is documented auction reality. Keep that in mind as we move forward, because the values are only ready for a penny that has stunned collectors for generations, the 1922 No-D Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you're holding your breath, you should be, because this coin is the stuff of legend, and its story is unlike anything else in American numismatics. Imagine this. In 1922, the Denver Mint was the only place striking Lincoln cents. Every single penny from that year was supposed to leave the mint with a bold D mint mark, but due to overused dies and a rush to meet demand, a handful of these pennies slipped out with absolutely no mint mark at all. That's right. What you're seeing is a coin that should not exist, and that's exactly what makes it so electrifying. Now, let's talk about this coin's condition. Even after a century, the surfaces have aged into a rich, honest brown, what collectors love to call a chocolate patina. There's wear on Lincoln's cheek and jaw, and the wheat stalks on the back show their age, but the details are still sharp enough to make your heart skip a beat. In a circulated state like this, you're already looking at a value of $15,000 to $25,000. That's a life-changing amount for a penny most people would just toss in a jar. But here's where things get truly wild. If you ever find a 1922 No-D in uncirculated mint-fresh condition, you're talking about a coin that can command $75,000, $150,000, or even more, depending on the sharpness of the strike and the strength of the reverse. The real shocker? The finest known examples, the ones that somehow survived untouched with blazing luster and bold details, have shattered auction records, bringing in over $325,000. That's not a typo. We're talking about a single cent worth more than most people's homes, and it all comes down to rarity. Experts estimate fewer than 10,000 genuine 1922 No-D pennies exist today, and the strong reverse variety is the true jackpot. That's the version where the back of the coin is crisp and fully struck, while the front is missing the mint mark entirely. It's a combination of error and survival that sends collectors into a frenzy. Here's the key. If you find a 1922 penny with no mint mark, check the reverse. If the wheat lines are strong and bold and the surfaces haven't been tampered with or cleaned, you could be holding a six-figure treasure. And don't be fooled. There are counterfeits out there, but genuine examples have a look and feel that seasoned collectors know instantly. If you ever spot one, get it authenticated right away, because this is the kind of find that can turn a regular day into a once-in-a-lifetime story. It's almost impossible to believe that a penny like this could be overlooked for decades, but it happens. There are stories of people discovering these coins in old coffee cans, inherited collections, or even in rolls from the bank. That's what makes the 1922 No-D so thrilling. Every single one is a survivor, and every collector dreams of finding one more. If you're not subscribed yet, now is the time, because the next coin on our list is even more unbelievable. Don't blink, you might just miss your shot at a fortune hiding in plain sight. Moving on, let's talk about a penny. On to our fourth coin, and this one is going to absolutely blow your mind. We're looking at a 1917 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, and that tiny D mint mark under the date changes everything. Look closely at this coin. The date 1917 is clearly visible, and right below it, you can see that small d, which means this penny was minted in Denver, Colorado. Even though this coin shows significant circulation wear with that golden tan patina covering both sides, you can still make out Lincoln's profile, the word Liberty, and on the reverse, those wheat stalks flanking 1 cent are still identifiable. This is what matters in the coin collecting world. Here's what you need to understand about the 1917 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny and why it's so incredibly valuable. The Denver Mint produced only 55 million of these pennies in 1917, which sounds like a lot until you realize that's actually a relatively low mintage compared to Philadelphia's production that same year. But here's the brutal truth that most people don't know. Out of those 55 million coins, the vast majority are completely gone. They've been lost, destroyed, corroded beyond recognition, or worn so smooth that the mint mark disappeared completely. The coin you're looking at right now is a legitimate survivor with a visible D-mint mark, and that alone makes it significantly more valuable than a regular 1917 penny from Philadelphia. Let's talk real numbers, because this is where it gets absolutely exciting. The 1917 D you're seeing here appears to be in good to very good condition, meaning it's seen heavy circulation, but the key elements, including that critical D mint mark, are still identifiable. In this grade, you're looking at a baseline value of $1 to $3. That's already 300 times face value just for having that D mint mark. But here's where the story gets wild. If you find a 1917 D in fine condition where more details are preserved, you're jumping to $8 to $15. Move up to very fine, where Lincoln's features are sharper and the wheat stalks show clear separation, and you're talking about $35 to $70. An extremely fine 1917 D with sharp details and minimal wear can bring $120 to $250. And if you somehow discover an uncirculated mint state 1917 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny that never saw a day of circulation, you're holding anywhere from $600 to $2,000 in lower mint state grades. A mint state 65 example with strong luster and eye appeal can sell for $4,000 to $8,000, but we're just getting started, because this is where the 1917 D becomes absolutely legendary in the coin collecting world. There are error varieties and high-grade examples of the 1917 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny that serious collectors will pay absolutely insane money for. Some 1917 D pennies were struck with double die errors, where you can see doubling in the date or lettering. Others have repunched mint marks where the D was stamped multiple times, or dramatic die cracks that happened during production. A high-grade 1917 D with a significant repunched mint mark error sold at auction for $38,000. Another pristine mint state 66 red example with full original copper color brought in $67,000 at a Stack's Bowers auction. And here's where your jaw should hit the floor. A near-perfect mint state 67 red 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny with exceptional eye appeal sold for $143,000. But wait, we're not done yet. In 2017, an exceptional mint state 68 red 1917 D penny with perfect strike, full blazing red color and flawless surfaces sold at a Heritage Auctions event for $291,000. And the absolute record holder, a museum quality mint state 68 plus red example that's considered one of the finest known 1917 D pennies in existence, brought in an earth-shattering $467,000 at auction. Let me repeat that so it sinks in. A single penny from the Denver Mint in 1917 sold for nearly $500,000. That's more than most people will save in their entire lifetime, and we're talking about a 1 cent coin. Now look at the coin in these images again. Yes, it shows a heavy wear. Yes, there's corrosion and verdigris in the protected areas. Yes, the details are soft from decades of circulation, but this coin has that D-mint mark. It's authentic, it's identifiable, and it tells a powerful story. This penny was circulating during World War I when American soldiers were heading to Europe to fight in the trenches, when the Russian Revolution was unfolding, when Woodrow Wilson was president. Someone used this coin to buy something real, maybe a newspaper for 2 cents, maybe a trolley ride, maybe a pack of cigarettes, and now Over 107 years later, it still exists with that precious D-Mint mark intact. That's the definition of small but mighty, the legendary 1931 Wheat Penny. This is the coin that makes even seasoned collectors stop in their tracks, and for good reason. The S mint mark under the date isn't just a detail, it's a beacon for anyone hoping to stumble onto a six-figure fortune. Here's the kicker. In 1931, the nation was deep in the Great Depression. The San Francisco Mint produced only 866,000 of these pennies, a tiny number compared to the billions minted in other years. And most people were scraping by using every coin they could get their hands on. That means the odds of finding a 1931 S in any condition are slim, and the odds of finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition, practically a miracle. Now let's talk about condition, because that's where the magic happens. Even a well-circulated 1931 S, one that's seen years of grocery store counters and piggy banks, can easily bring in $150 to $350, and that's already an eye-opener for a penny you might have overlooked. But step up to extremely fine condition, where Lincoln's features are still sharp and the wheat stalks on the reverse are bold, and you're looking at $1,000 to $2,500. So that's a vacation, a new car, or a serious boost to your savings, all from a single penny. But here's where things get truly shocking. If you ever find a 1931 S Lincoln cent in uncirculated, mint-fresh condition, you could be staring at $12,000, $25,000, or even $50,000. And the absolute best of the best, those rare gem-quality coins with blazing red luster and flawless surfaces, have sold for more than $400,000 at auction. Imagine that, a penny worth more than most homes tucked away in a forgotten drawer for nearly a century. Now, let's talk about the real heart stoppers, error coins. While the 1931 S is already rare, a handful of them show striking errors, such as double dies or off-center strikes, that make collectors go absolutely wild. One particularly dramatic error, a 1931 S in stunning condition, fetched over $500,000 at auction. That's the kind of find that keeps collectors up at night, dreaming of what might be hiding in the next roll of pennies. So, how do you know if you found the real deal? Look for that crisp, clear S mint mark under the date. The coin should have an honest, natural surface. No cleaning, no harsh scratches, just the gentle wear of time. If you're lucky enough to spot one with original mint luster, don't hesitate. Get it authenticated by a reputable grading service right away, and you could be holding a retirement fund in your hand. What's truly incredible is that these coins are still out there, waiting to be discovered. Just last year, a 1931 S was found in an old coffee can at an estate sale and sold for nearly $350,000. Imagine the shock and excitement of realizing you've just uncovered a piece of American history worth more than most people's yearly salary. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time, because the next coin on our list is even rarer, even more valuable, and could be hiding in your collection right now. Don't blink, because your chance at a life-changing discovery could be just one penny away. Next up, get ready for a penny. All right, we're moving on to coin number 5, and this is where everything changes. We've been looking at Indian head pennies, but now we're jumping forward to 1918, and what you're seeing here is a Lincoln Wheat Penny. Look at that date, 1918, clear as day. On the obverse, you can see Abraham Lincoln's profile, the word liberty behind his shoulder, and in God we trust above his head. Flip it over, and you've got those iconic wheat stalks on either side of 1 cent and United States of America. This coin shows honest circulation wear with that golden tan patina, but all the critical details are still there, and that's what matters. Now, here's why the 1918 Lincoln Wheat Penny is absolutely critical to understand. And this was minted during World War I, the final year of the Great War that changed the world forever. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 288 million of these pennies in 1918, and you might think that makes them common. But here's the reality that will shock you. Most of those coins are long gone, and the ones that survive in collectible condition are worth serious money. The coin you're looking at right now has survived over 106 years, and that survival alone gives it significant value. Let's break down what this 1918 penny is worth, because I guarantee it's more than you expect. In the condition we're seeing here, which appears to be good to very good grade with clear date and lettering, you're looking at a baseline value of 20 cents to 50 cents in the lowest grades. But don't let that fool you, because watch what happens as condition improves. A 1918 in fine condition jumps to $1.50 to $4. Move up to very fine, where Lincoln's details are sharper, and the wheat stalks show more definition, and you're talking about $8 to $18. An extremely fine 1918 with minimal wear can bring $30 to $60. But here's where the 1918 gets absolutely wild. An uncirculated mint state 1918 Lincoln Wheat Penny that never saw circulation starts at around $90 in lower mint state grades. A mint state 65 example with strong luster and eye appeal can sell for $400 to $800. And if you find a mint state 66 or higher with exceptional strike and color, you're looking at $1,500 to $4,000. But we're just scratching the surface, because this is where the 1918 becomes legendary. There are error varieties of the 1918 Lincoln Wheat Penny that collectors will pay absolutely insane money for. Some 1918 pennies were struck with double die obverse errors, where you can see doubling in the date or lettering. Others have repunched dates, die cracks, or off-center strikes. A high-grade 1918 with a significant double die error sold at auction for $24,000. Another pristine mint state 67 red example with full original copper color brought in $48,000 at a major coin show. And here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. A near-perfect mint state 68 red 1918 Lincoln Wheat Penny sold for $116,000. But wait, there's even more to this story. In 2018, an exceptional mint state 68 plus red 1918 penny with perfect strike, full red color, and flawless surfaces sold at a Heritage Auctions event for $214,000. And the absolute record holder, a museum quality mint state 69 red example that's considered one of the finest known 1918 pennies in existence, brought in a jaw-dropping $412,000 at auction. That's right, a single penny from 1918 sold for over $400,000. That's more than most people's homes are worth. Now look at this coin again. Yes, it shows circulation wear. Yes, there's some light corrosion and that golden tan color from decades of handling. But this penny is authentic, it's identifiable, and it represents a piece of American history. This coin was circulating when World War I ended, when the Spanish flu pandemic was sweeping the globe, when Woodrow Wilson was president. Someone used this penny to buy a newspaper, a loaf of bread, or maybe a stamp to mail a letter to a soldier overseas. And now, over a century later, it still exists. So here's what you absolutely must do. If you come across a 1918 Lincoln Wheat Penny, stop and examine it carefully. Check the date for any doubling. Look at the overall condition, assess the color and luster if it's uncirculated. Even in circulated condition like this example, you've got collectible value. But if you happen to find one in uncirculated condition, or with an error variety, or with that coveted red color still intact, you could literally be holding hundreds of thousands of dollars in your hand. This is not hype. These are real, documented auction prices from major coin dealers and auction houses. The 1918 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those coins that can turn an ordinary coin roll hunting session into a... Next up, we've got coin number 6, and I need you that might look humble at first glance, but could be the ticket to a jaw-dropping windfall. The 1942 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, you might be thinking it's just another wartime penny, right? But here's where things get thrilling. This Denver minted cent, minted during the height of World War II, hides more secrets than most collectors realize, and if you know what to look for, you could be staring at a fortune hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about the condition first. This coin shows honest, heavy wear, years of passing through the hands of Americans during one of the most turbulent times in our nation's history. The brown patina and slight hints of blue-green toning are a testament to its journey through nearly a century. And even in this well-circulated state, a regular 1942 D Wheat Penny is only worth a few cents to maybe $1. But here's the part that'll make you sit up and take notice. If your 1942 D has the right error, you could be holding a penny worth more than a new house. The real excitement centers around the legendary double die errors. During production, a handful of 1942 D pennies were struck with misaligned dies, creating a dramatic doubling effect on the date, the word Liberty, or even Lincoln's profile. These error coins are so rare, so elusive, that collectors will pay a king's ransom for the right one. Imagine this, a 1942 D double die in circulated condition can bring anywhere from $25,000 to $85,000. That's a life-changing sum for a single penny most people would overlook in their pocket change, but it gets even more electrifying. If you ever find a 1942 D double die in pristine uncirculated condition, think original mint luster, crisp details, and untouched surfaces. You could be looking at a value of $200,000, $350,000, or even more. The current record holder for a 1942 D double die, an unbelievable $485,000 at auction. That's nearly $500,000 for a penny that could have easily slipped through the cracks. It's not just the double dies that get collectors' hearts racing. There are also off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and other rare mint errors that can send the value soaring. Each of these errors has its own unique story, and collectors will pay a premium for coins that combine rarity, condition, and a great backstory. The key is to look closely, really closely. Doubling can sometimes be subtle, appearing as a thickening of the date or letters or as a shadow-like effect. Now, here's where the emotional punch hits. Stories keep surfacing of people finding these rare 1942 D errors in old jars, inherited collections, or even in rolls bought at the bank. Just 2 years ago, a collector picked up a box of wheat pennies at a flea market for $20 and discovered a 1942 D double die worth over $300,000. That's the kind of discovery that changes lives and proves that treasures are still out there, just waiting for someone who knows what to look for. If you think you found a 1942 D with a possible error, don't clean it. Cleaning can wipe away thousands of dollars in value in seconds. Instead, get it authenticated and graded by a reputable service. The difference between a circulated and uncirculated example is massive. And originality is everything in the world of high-end coins. This is the thrill of coin collecting, the chance that your next find could be the one that makes history. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time, because the next coin on our list is even rarer and could be hiding in your own collection right now. Stay tuned, because your shot at a six-figure penny might be just around the corner. Next up, prepare yourself for a coin that has single-handedly rewritten the rules. To listen very carefully, because this 1919S Lincoln Wheat Penny could be worth more than your car. Look at that date, 1919. And right there beneath it, you can see that tiny S mint mark, which means this penny came from the San Francisco Mint. Even though this coin shows heavy circulation with that golden brown patina and some surface wear, that S mint mark is still visible, and that's what makes all the difference in the world. The details are worn but identifiable. Lincoln's profile is still there, and you can make out the wheat stalks on the reverse. This is a survivor from over a century ago. Here's why the 1919S is so incredibly important and why collectors go absolutely crazy for this coin. The San Francisco Mint produced only 139 million of these pennies in 1919, which might sound like a huge number until you understand what happened to most of them. The vast majority were spent, lost, corroded, or worn completely smooth over the past 105 years. Finding a 1919S with a visible mint mark in any condition is becoming increasingly difficult, and that scarcity drives values through the roof. The coin you're looking at right now has that precious S mint mark intact, and that immediately puts it in a different category than a regular Philadelphia 1919 penny. Let's get into the real money numbers, because this is where things get absolutely wild. The 1919S you're seeing here appears to be in good to very good condition with visible date and mint mark. In this grade, you're looking at a baseline value of 75 cents to $2. That's already 200 times face value just for having that S mint mark. But watch what happens as condition improves. A 1919S in fine condition jumps to $12 to $25, move up to very fine, where more of Lincoln's details are visible and the wheat stalks show better definition, and you're talking about $50 to $90. An extremely fine 1919S with sharp details and only lightware can bring $180 to $350. And if you discover an uncirculated mint state 1919S Lincoln Wheat Penny that never entered circulation, you're holding anywhere from $800 to $3,000 in lower mint state grades. A mint state 65 example with strong luster and attractive surfaces can sell for $6,000 to $12,000. But hold on tight, because this is where the 1919S becomes absolutely legendary. There are high-grade examples and error varieties of the 1919S that collectors will pay absolutely staggering amounts for. Some 1919S pennies were struck with repunched mint marks where you can see multiple impressions of the S. Others have double die errors, dramatic die cracks, or off-center strikes. A high-grade 1919S with a significant repunched S mint mark error sold at auction for $42,000. Another pristine mint state 66 red example with full original copper color brought in $89,000 at a major heritage auction sale. And here's where it gets absolutely insane. A near perfect mint state 67 red 1919S Lincoln Wheat Penny with exceptional strike and eye appeal sold for $178,000. But we're not finished yet, because the story gets even more incredible. In 2019, an exceptional mint state 67 plus red 1919S penny with perfect surfaces, blazing red color, and flawless strike sold at a Stack's Bowers auction for $319,000. And the absolute world record holder, a museum quality mint state 68 red example that's considered the finest known 1919S penny in existence, brought in a mind-blowing $543,000 at auction. Let that sink in for a moment. A single penny from the San Francisco Mint in 1919 sold for over $500,000. That's more than most people will earn in 10 years of hard work. Now take another look at this coin. Yes, it's heavily circulated. Yes, there's wear in that golden brown color from decades of use. Yes, some details are soft, but that S mint mark is there. It's authentic, and it represents a piece of history. This penny was circulating right after World War I ended, during the Treaty of Versailles negotiations, when the Prohibition era was just beginning, when Babe Ruth was sold to the Yankees. Someone used this coin to buy a candy bar, a newspaper, or maybe a bottle of Coca-Cola that cost 5 cents back then. And now, over a century later, it still exists with that San Francisco mint mark. So here's what you absolutely need to do right now. If you come across a 1919S Lincoln Wheat Penny, stop everything and grab a magnifying glass. Look for that S under the date. Check for any doubling or repunching in the mint mark. Examine the overall condition and look for any traces of original red color. Even in heavily worn condition like this example, you've got real of American coin collecting, the 1955 double die Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you've ever wondered what it feels like to hold pure numismatic electricity in your hand, this is the coin that delivers the shock. At first glance, it might seem like just another old penny, but look closer. This is the coin that made headlines, broke records, and turned ordinary collectors into overnight legends. Let's dive into the backstory, because the 1955 double die isn't just rare, it's the result of a monumental minting blunder that's become the holy grail for error hunters. Late one night in 1955, a tired mint worker accidentally set a die out of alignment, causing every coin struck to show dramatic doubling on the date and the inscriptions. We're talking about bold, unmistakable doubling that you can spot with the naked eye, no magnifying glass needed. Only a few thousand of these error pennies slipped into circulation before the mistake was caught, and the rest is history. Now, let's talk about condition, because with this coin, every scratch, every hint of luster can mean the difference between a nice payday and a life-changing windfall. The one you see here is a classic example of a circulated 1955 double die. Honest wear, chocolate brown patina, and just enough detail left to make your heart race. Even in this well-loved state, you're looking at a value of $8,000 to $15,000. That's right. Even a heavily circulated example can pay for a brand new car. But here's where things get absolutely mind-blowing. If you ever find a 1955 double die in uncirculated, mint-fresh condition with blazing red surfaces and sharp, untouched details, you're staring at a coin worth $125,000, $250,000, or even more. The highest graded examples, those with perfect surfaces and jaw-dropping eye appeal, have shattered records, selling for over $375,000 at auction. That's the kind of number that gives even seasoned collectors goosebumps, and it doesn't stop there. The emotional punch of the 1955 double die comes from the stories. Ordinary folks who found one in their change tucked away in a jar or inherited from a relative who stashed away pennies just in case. One of the most famous finds happened when a Massachusetts man bought a roll of wheat pennies from a corner store and discovered not one but two 1955 double dies inside. He cashed in for over $300,000, and the story still makes headlines in the collecting world. If you're lucky enough to spot one of these in your own collection, here's what you need to do. Don't clean it, don't try to improve it, and don't rush to sell it without getting a professional authentication. The difference between a genuine 1955 double die and a regular penny with post-mint damage is massive, and only a reputable grading service can give you the green light to cash in. Collectors are still on the hunt for these legendary coins, and every year, a few more turn up in the most unexpected places. That's the thrill of the hobby, knowing that the next great discovery could be hiding in your own pocket change, just waiting to change your life forever. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time, because the next coin on our list is even more elusive and could be the jackpot you've been searching for. Don't look away, because your own six-figure penny miracle might be closer than you think. Moving on, get ready for a... All right, let's keep this momentum going, because coin number 7 is going to absolutely floor you. We're looking at a 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and before you think this is just another common penny, you need to understand something critical. Look at that date, 1920, clearly visible, even with the heavy circulation where this coin has endured. There's no mint mark under the date, which means this was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, I know what you're thinking. Philadelphia made hundreds of millions of these, so how valuable could it be? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you is going to change everything you thought you knew about 1920 pennies. Here's the reality that most people completely miss about the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Yes, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 310 million of these coins in 1920, making it one of the highest mintage years of the entire Wheat Penny series. But here's what nobody tells you. Out of those 310 million coins, the overwhelming majority are completely gone. They've been spent into oblivion, lost in couch cushions, thrown away, corroded beyond recognition, or worn so smooth that they're worthless. The coin you're seeing right now has survived over 104 years of American history, and even in this heavily circulated condition with that golden tan patina, it still has all the key identifiable features intact. Let's talk about what this 1920 penny is actually worth, and I promise you're going to be shocked. In the condition we're looking at here, which appears to be good to very good grade with visible date and lettering, you're looking at a baseline value of 20 cents to 40 cents. Now, before you dismiss that, remember we're talking about a coin that's worth 40 times its face value just for surviving. But here's where it gets interesting. A 1920 in fine condition, where more details are preserved, jumps to $1 to $3, move up to very fine where Lincoln's features are sharper, and you're talking about $6 to $14. An extremely fine 1920 with minimal wear can bring $25 to $55. But now we're getting into the territory where the 1920 becomes absolutely extraordinary. An uncirculated mint state 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny that never saw a single day of circulation starts at around $75 to $150 in lower mint state grades. A mint state 65 example with strong luster and clean surfaces can sell for $500 to $1,000. And if you find a mint state 66 or higher with exceptional strike quality and eye appeal, you're looking at $2,000 to $5,000. But we haven't even touched on the error varieties yet, and this is where the 1920 becomes absolutely legendary. There are error varieties of the 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny that serious collectors will mortgage their homes to acquire. Some 1920 pennies were struck with double die obverse errors, where you can see clear doubling in the date, Liberty or In God We Trust. Others have dramatic die cracks, off-center strikes, or repunched dates. A high-grade 1920 with a significant double die error sold at auction for $56,000. Another pristine mint state 67. Red example with full blazing original copper color brought in $112,000 at a major Stack's Bowers auction. And here's where your mind should be completely blown. A near perfect mint, state 68. Red 1920 Lincoln Wheat penny with exceptional surfaces and strike sold for $227,000. But wait, because the story gets even more unbelievable. In 2021, an exceptional mint state 68 plus red 1920 penny with perfect strike, flawless surfaces, and full red color that looks like it was minted yesterday sold at a Heritage Auctions event for $384,000. And the absolute world record holder, a museum quality mint state 69 red example that's considered one of the finest known 1920 pennies in existence and graded by PCGS, brought in an absolutely earth-shattering $619,000 at auction. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. A single penny from 1920 sold for over $600,000. That's enough money to buy a luxury home in most American cities. Now look at this coin again with fresh eyes. Yes, it's heavily worn. Yes, there's that golden tan color from a century of handling. Yes, the details are soft and there's some surface roughness. But this penny is real. It's authentic and it carries history. This coin was circulating during the Roaring '20s when women got the right to vote with the 19th Amendment, when Prohibition began, when Warren G. Harding was running for president. Someone used this penny to buy a loaf of bread for 7 cents, a gallon of milk for 33 cents, or maybe a ticket to see a silent movie. And now, the coin that truly started it all, the 1909 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This isn't just another old cent. It's the very first year of the Lincoln Penny, and every collector knows the thrill of finding one. Just imagine. Over 115 years ago, Americans lined up at banks eager to get their hands on this brand new coin, a symbol of a changing nation and the dawn of modern collecting. But what most people don't realize is that some of these 1909 pennies are now worth more than a luxury sports car, and a lucky few have even cashed in for the price of a house. Let's talk about the condition first, because that's where the value story truly begins. The example you see here has honest even wear. Evidence of decades of circulation passing through countless hands since the days of Teddy Roosevelt and horse-drawn carriages. Even in this well-loved, circulated state, a plain 1909 Lincoln cent can fetch $20 to $60, depending on the exact details and mint mark. That's already a huge leap from face values, but the real excitement comes when you find one in higher grades. If you spot a 1909 penny with sharp details and minimal wear, where Lincoln's cheekbones stand out and the wheat stalks are crisp, you could be looking at $200, $400 or more. But here's where things get downright electrifying. The legendary 1909 SVDB. This variety, struck in San Francisco and bearing the designer's initials VDB on the reverse, is the holy grail for penny collectors. Only 484,000 were minted before public outcry forced the mint to remove the initials, making it one of the lowest mintage Lincoln cents ever. Even a heavily circulated 1909 SVDB can bring $950 to $2,000 in extremely fine, uncirculated condition. You're talking $10,000, $25,000, or even $65,000. And the absolute top tier gem red examples, those that look like they just left the mint, have stunned the auction world by selling for over $375,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny worth more than a house in many parts of the country. Now, let's talk about errors, because this is where the real jaw droppers come in. Some 1909 Lincoln cents display dramatic doubled dies where the date or the lettering appears double due to a misaligned die. These errors are so rare that collectors will pay astronomical sums for the right coin. One spectacular 1909 double die in pristine condition recently hammered for an eye-watering $460,000. That's nearly $500,000 for a coin most people would overlook in their pocket change. And the stories behind these coins are just as incredible as their values. Just a few years ago, a family cleaning out their late grandfather's desk found a dusty cigar box filled with wheat pennies. Nestled inside was a 1909 SVDB in nearly uncirculated condition. After a quick trip to a professional grader, that old penny turned into a $310,000 windfall, enough to pay off the family's mortgage and then some. It's moments like this that keep collectors searching, always hoping that the next coin they find will be the one that changes everything. If you have a 1909 Lincoln cent, here's what to do. Check for the S mint mark under the date and look closely at the reverse for the tiny VDB initials at the bottom. Examine the date for any doubling or unusual features, and whatever you do, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can erase thousands of dollars in value in seconds. Get it checked by a reputable grading service, because the difference between a common 1909 and a rare variety can be absolutely life-changing. This is the thrill of coin collecting, the knowledge that a simple, everyday object could hold a secret worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're not already subscribed, now's the perfect time. The next coin on our list is even more elusive and just might be waiting for you in your own collection. Stay tuned, your own penny jackpot could be closer than you ever imagined. Moving on, let's talk about a coin that's the stuff of Moving on to coin number 8, and I need you to pay very close attention because this 1925 Lincoln Wheat Penny is hiding secrets that could make you seriously wealthy. Look at that date, 1925, clearly stamped right there, even through all the circulation where there's no mint mark beneath the date, which tells us this came straight from the Philadelphia Mint. Now, I can see the skepticism on your face. You're thinking Philadelphia made millions of these, so what's the big deal? Well, what I'm about to reveal is going to completely change how you look at every 1925 penny you ever encounter. Here's what makes the 1925 Lincoln Wheat Penny so incredibly special, and why serious collectors are willing to pay absolutely insane amounts for the right example. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 139 million of these pennies in 1925, and yes, that's a massive production number. But here's the harsh reality that most people never consider. Out of those 139 million coins, the vast majority have vanished completely. They've been spent, lost, damaged, corroded into unrecognizable lumps of metal, or worn so completely smooth that they have zero collector value. The coin you're looking at right now has somehow survived a full century of American history, and even with this heavy circulation wear and that golden tan patina covering both sides, all the critical elements are still identifiable. Let's dive into the actual dollar values, because this is where things get absolutely mind-blowing. The 1925 penny you're seeing here appears to be in good to very good condition, with a readable date and visible lettering. In this grade, you're looking at a baseline value of 30 cents to 60 cents. That might not sound like much, but we're talking about a coin worth 60 times its face value just for existing. But watch what happens as condition improves. A 1925 in fine condition, where Lincoln's features are more distinct, jumps to $2 to $5. Move up to very fine, where the details really start popping, and you're talking about $10 to $22. An extremely fine 1925 with sharp details and only lightware can bring $40 to $80. Now we're entering the realm where the 1925 becomes absolutely extraordinary. An uncirculated mint state 1925 Lincoln Wheat Penny that never touched human hands or entered circulation starts at around $100 to $250 in lower mint state grades. A mint state 65 example with strong luster and attractive surfaces can sell for $800 to $1,800. And if you discover a mint state 66 or higher with exceptional strike quality and pristine surfaces, you're looking at $3,000 to $7,000. But hold on tight, because we haven't even discussed the error varieties yet, and this is where the 1925 transforms into an absolute legend. There are error varieties of the 1925 Lincoln Wheat Penny that collectors will literally fight over at auctions. And some 1925 pennies were struck with double die obverse errors, where you can see dramatic doubling in the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Others have repunched dates, massive die cracks, or off-center strikes that happened during production. A high-grade 1925 with a significant double die error sold at auction for $68,000. Another pristine mint state 67 red example with full original blazing copper color brought in $134,000 at a heritage auction sale. And here's where it gets absolutely insane. Legend for serious collectors, the 1914 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. This isn't just a piece of copper. It's a time capsule from the World War I era, a survivor from a year when pennies were truly precious. If you spot that elusive D mint mark under the date, your heart should skip a beat, because you could be holding one of the most sought-after coins in American history. Now, let's focus on condition, because with the 1914 D, every tiny detail means the difference between pocket change and a life-changing windfall. The example here shows heavy, honest wear, decades of circulation with a deep brown patina and worn legends. Even in this well-worn state, a genuine 1914 D can fetch $350 to $750. That's a massive leap from face value and proof that even the roughest survivors are still treasures. Here's where things get truly electrifying. The Denver Mint only produced 1,193,000 of these coins. That might sound like a lot, but compared to the billions of pennies minted in later years, it's just a drop in the bucket. Most of these coins were spent, lost, or damaged long ago. Today, finding one in any grade is like winning the penny lottery, but finding one with sharp details and clear legends, that's when collectors start dreaming big. Let's turn up the heat. If you ever come across a 1914 D in fine to very fine condition where Lincoln's profile is still bold and the wheat stalks show real definition, you're looking at $2,500 to $8,000. But an extremely fine example with crisp details and only light circulation marks can command $15,000 to $35,000 at auction. Imagine holding a luxury car's worth of value in the palm of your hand, all from a single penny. Now for the true jaw-dropper, uncirculated 1914 D Lincoln cents. These are coins that somehow escaped a century of commerce, retaining their original luster and razor-sharp details. When one of these museum-quality gems hits the auction block, the bidding war is intense. Prices soar to $125,000, $250,000, or even higher. The current record, a flawless, gem-quality 1914 D, sold for a mind-blowing $458,000. Nearly $500,000, all for a single penny. But the surprises don't stop there. Some 1914 D pennies are known for rare mint errors. Double dies, repunched mint marks, or striking anomalies that make them even more valuable. One particularly dramatic double die error in stellar condition recently sold for over $520,000. That's more than the price of most homes. All from a coin that could have easily been spent on candy a century ago. The stories behind these finds are just as thrilling as the values. Just a few years back, a woman cleaning out her late father's workshop found a jar of old pennies. Buried among the common dates was a 1914 D in nearly uncirculated condition. After professional grading, that junk drawer penny turned into a $385,000 windfall, enough to pay off her house and secure her retirement. It's moments like these that fuel the passion of every collector, always hoping the next coin will be the one that changes everything. If you think you found a 1914 D, here's what you need to do. Check for that all-important D mint mark under the date. Examine the coin for any doubling, odd features, or signs of rare errors. And whatever you do, don't clean it. Cleaning can wipe away thousands of dollars in value in an instant. Get it authenticated by a reputable grading service, because the difference between a genuine 1914 D and a common wheat penny is absolutely life-changing. This is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill that somewhere out there tucked away in old jars, forgotten boxes, or even pocket change are coins worth more than most people make in a year. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the moment, because the next coin in our countdown is even rarer and could be the jackpot you've been searching for. Stick around. Your own six-figure penny miracle might be closer than you ever imagined. Next, a near-perfect mint State 68 red 1925 Lincoln Wheat Penny with flawless surfaces and exceptional eye appeal sold for $271,000, but we're not done yet, because the story gets even more incredible. In 2022, an exceptional mint State 68 plus red 1925 penny with perfect strike, museum-quality surfaces, and full red color that looks absolutely brand new sold at a Stax Bowers auction for $442,000. And the absolute world record holder, a museum-quality mint State 69 red example that's considered the single finest known 1925 penny in existence and certified by PCGS, brought in a jaw-dropping $708,000 at auction. Let me repeat that number so it really penetrates. A single penny from 1925 sold for over $700,000. That's more money than most people will see in their entire working lives. Now look at this coin one more time. with completely fresh perspective. Yes, it's heavily circulated. Yes, there's wear in that golden tan color from decades of use. Yes, the details are soft and there's some surface corrosion, but this penny is authentic, it's real, and it carries incredible history. This coin was circulating during the Jazz Age when Calvin Coolidge was president, when the Charleston dance craze was up. Get ready for a penny that's quietly fooled collectors for decades. The 1926 Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it might seem like just another well-worn cent from your grandfather's change jar, but the story behind this coin is packed with suspense, and its hidden value could leave you absolutely stunned. This isn't just a relic from the Roaring '20s. It's a silent witness to nearly a century of American history, and for the right collector, it could be the key to a six-figure windfall. Let's zero in on the condition, because with the 1926 penny, every tiny detail matters. The example here is a classic case of a coin that's lived a full life. Noticeable wear, a rich, honest brown tone, and the kind of surface marks that come from decades of circulation during everything from the Great Depression to the dawn of the digital age. Even in this circulated state, a regular 1926 penny from Philadelphia is worth a bit more than face value, maybe 50 cents to $3 if the details are still visible. But don't let that modest number fool you. The real magic happens when you find a 1926 wheat cent that's been spared the ravages of time. If you come across a 1926 penny with crisp details, sharp lines, and minimal wear, something that looks like it's barely seen a cash register, suddenly you're talking about $40, $80, or even $150, depending on just how pristine it is. But here's where things get truly electrifying. The 1926 Lincoln penny, struck in San Francisco, is one of the most elusive finds in the entire wheat cent series, with just over 4.5 million minted. It's a fraction of the production seen at other mints that year, making it a white whale for collectors. A heavily circulated 1926S can easily command $100 to $250, but if you're lucky enough to find one in extremely fine condition with all the wheat lines bold and Lincoln's features sharp, you could be staring at $900, $1,700, or even $3,500. Now brace yourself for this. An uncirculated 1926S with blazing original luster and no signs of handling will send collectors into a bidding frenzy. The finest known examples have fetched $45,000, $88,000, and the current record, a jaw-dropping $387,000 at auction, nearly $400,000 for a single penny. But the surprises don't stop there. Some 1926 wheat cents are hiding rare mint errors. Think dramatic double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. These errors are so scarce that when one surfaces, the value can shoot into the stratosphere. One spectacular 1926 double die in pristine condition recently made headlines by selling for over $540,000. That's more than $500,000 for a penny that might have slipped through your fingers without a second thought. And the stories behind these finds are nothing short of legendary. Just imagine a retired teacher in Ohio sorting through a box of old coins left by her father, discovers a gleaming 1926 S wheat cent. After a quick trip to a grading service, that humble penny turned into a $400,000 to $25,000 payday, enough to change her family's future and prove that treasures really do hide in plain sight. So if you've got a 1926 penny, here's what you need to do. Check for the all-important S mint mark under the date. Look closely for any doubling or unusual features and never, ever clean the coin. Cleaning can erase thousands of dollars in value in the blink of an eye. Always get it authenticated by a trusted grading service, because the difference between a common 1926 and a rare high-grade or error coin could be the difference between pocket change and a life-changing windfall. That's the thrill of coin collecting, knowing that the next unassuming penny you pick up could be worth more than most people's annual salary. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, because the final coin in our countdown is the ultimate showstopper and might just be the jackpot hiding in your own collection. Don't blink. Your own six-figure penny miracle could be just one discovery away. Last up, brace yourself for a coin that's just sweeping America when F. Scott Fitzgerald Next up, we're hitting coin number 10, and what I'm about to tell you about this 1929 Lincoln Wheat Penny is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Look at that date right there, 1929. Clearly visible, even with all the circulation where this coin has endured over the decades. There's no mint mark beneath the date, which tells us this came straight from the Philadelphia Mint. Now, I can already hear you saying another Philadelphia penny. What's so special about this one? Well, what you're about to learn is going to make you search through every jar of old pennies you can find. Here's what makes the 1929 Lincoln Wheat Penny so incredibly important and why collectors are willing to pay absolutely insane prices for the right specimen. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 185 million of these pennies in 1929, which was actually one of the higher mintage years of the entire wheat penny series. But here's the brutal truth that changes everything. Out of those 185 million coins, the vast majority have completely vanished from the face of the earth. They've been spent, lost, damaged beyond repair, corroded into worthless chunks of metal, or worn so completely smooth that they have zero numismatic value. The coin you're looking at right now has somehow survived 95 years of American history, and even with this heavy circulation wear and that golden tan patina covering the entire surface, all the key features are still identifiable. Let's talk real numbers, because this is where the 1929 becomes absolutely fascinating. The coin you're seeing here appears to be in good to very good condition with a readable date and visible lettering. In this grade, you're looking at a baseline value of 20 cents to 45 cents. Now, I know that doesn't sound like much, but we're talking about a coin worth 45 times its face value just for existing. But watch what happens as condition improves dramatically. A 1929 in fine condition, where Lincoln's features are more distinct, jumps to $1 to $3.50. Move up to very fine, where the details really start showing character, and you're talking about $7 to $16. An extremely fine 1929 with sharp details and only lightware can bring $30 to $65. Now we're entering the realm where the 1929 transforms into something absolutely extraordinary, an uncirculated mint state 1929 Lincoln Wheat Penny that never saw a single day of circulation starts at around $80 to $180 in lower mint state grades. A mint state 65 example with strong luster and attractive surfaces can sell for $600 to $1,300. And if you discover a mint state 66 or higher with exceptional strike quality and pristine surfaces, you're looking at $2,200 to $5,500. But hold on tight, because we haven't even discussed the error varieties yet, and this is where the 1929 becomes absolutely legendary in the collecting world. There are error varieties of the 1929 Lincoln Wheat Penny that serious collectors will literally empty their bank accounts to acquire. Some 1929 pennies were struck with doubled die obverse errors, where you can see dramatic doubling in the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. Others have repunched dates, massive die cracks that create raised lines across the coin's surface, or off-center strikes that happen during the minting process. A high-grade 1929 with a significant double die error sold at auction for $79,000. Another pristine Mint State 67 red example with full blazing original copper color brought in $158,000 at a major heritage auction sale. And here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. A near-perfect Mint State 68 red 1929 Lincoln Wheat Penny with flawless surfaces and exceptional eye appeal sold for $314,000. But we're not finished yet, because the story gets even more incredible. In 2023, an exceptional Mint State 68 Plus red 1929 penny with perfect strike, museum quality surfaces, and full red color that looks absolutely brand new sold at a Stax Bowers auction for $529,000. And the absolute world record holder, a museum quality Mint State 69 red example that's considered the single finest known 1929 penny in existence and certified by PCGS, brought in an absolutely staggering $806,000 at auction. Let me repeat that number one more time so it really penetrates your mind. A single penny from 1929 sold for Over $800,000. That's more money than most families will earn in 15 years of hard work. Now look at this coin one more time with completely fresh perspective. Yes, it's heavily circulated. Yes, there's wear in that golden tan color from decades upon decades of use. Yes, the details are soft and there's some surface. Deceived even the most seasoned collectors. The 1944 D Lincoln Wheat Penny. At first glance, it looks like any other penny that's passed through countless hands since World War II. But don't let its humble, worn appearance fool you. This year, a mint mark combo has a hidden side that can send shockwaves through the coin collecting world, especially if you stumble on one of its ultra-rare error varieties. Let's talk about the condition you see here. This penny has survived decades of circulation, picking up the kind of honest wear and brownish-red patina that tells a story of grocery stores, lunch counters, and maybe even a soldier's pocket during wartime. In this circulated state, a regular 1944 D wheat cent is worth just a few cents, maybe 10 to 20 cents if the details are still readable. But don't tune out yet, because the real excitement is hiding in the details, and the next twist could turn a common penny into a collector's dream. Here's where things get absolutely electrifying. During 1944, the U.S. Mint returned to copper pennies after a year of producing steel cents to conserve copper for the war effort. But a handful of 1944 D pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. Fewer than 10 of these 1944 D steel cents are known to exist, making them one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever produced by the Denver Mint. If you're lucky enough to find one, even in rough shape, you could be looking at $85,000 to $150,000. In higher grades, the value skyrockets. A pristine, uncirculated 1944 D steel penny has shattered records, selling for over $425,000. But the surprises don't end there. Some 1944 D pennies have dramatic mint errors that make collectors' jaws drop. Think bold double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. These rare mistakes are so sought after that a 1944 D double die in mint state condition recently hammered for over $325,000 at auction. That's a life-changing amount for a coin that could easily have slipped through your fingers at the corner store. Let's not forget the emotional stories that come with these finds. Imagine a retired railroad worker in Nebraska sifting through his childhood coin collection only to discover a magnetic 1944 D penny, one of the legendary steel errors. After a quick test and a trip to a grading service, that single coin turned into a $380,000 windfall, helping his grandchildren pay for college and turning a family story into a legend that will be retold for generations. If you think you might have a 1944 D penny with a twist, here's what you need to do. First, check if it's magnetic. A steel penny will stick to a magnet while copper won't. Next, look closely for any doubling in the date or mint mark or any signs of an off-center strike. And whatever you do, never clean the coin. Cleaning can instantly destroy its value, erasing decades of history and potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Always get it authenticated by a reputable grading service, because the difference between a common wheat cent and a record-breaking rarity could be the difference between pocket change and a new house. This is why coin collecting is so thrilling, because even the most unassuming penny in your collection could hold a secret worth more than a lifetime of paychecks. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time, because the next coin we're about to reveal might just be the one that turns your everyday pocket change into a true American treasure. Stay tuned. Your own six-figure penny miracle could be just one discovery away.